Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing 5 films that I feel like have at least one unique visual effect or something that's visually compelling and sort of unique to the Criterion Collection. Films that have or demonstrate use of visual effects that have stuck with me over the years. And I wanted to start with one that has been controversial over time. That is called The Cremator. This is a Czech New Wave film. And if you read the back, it says, blending the blackest of gallows humor with disorienting, expressionistic flourishes, queasy point-of-view shots, distorting lenses, and that's really what I was getting at here is the distorting lenses. Jarring quick cuts, this controversial long-bed masterpiece is one of cinema's most trenchant and disturbing portraits of the banality of evil. And this is about an actual cremator who does become involved in fascist activities. It's the way, the point of view, watching this man's sanity unravel from a visual perspective is really unique, and it's kind of hard to watch, especially when he does actually go completely crazy. The Cremator is a film that I had at one point considered getting rid of because it just didn't feel right when I watched it, and I guess that's part of the point. Usually disturbing films don't bother me, but this one might have struck a nerve in a different way. And I suspect part of it is that disorienting visual style. So I wanted to throw that in here and talk about it because I guess if it did get under my skin, it must be a pretty good movie. So The Cremator, definitely something every Criterion fan should at least see and consider for their collection. The next movie, and this is one of the movies that really made me think of this list, a lot of the time, silent film is thought of as completely outdated and just sort of like scrubbed together images that happen to be produced in early technological days before people had this refined cinema we have now. But this film, Haxan, has better visual splendor and more to say than a whole lot of our current CGI. And if you've never seen this, there are different prints of it. You definitely want to get a complete print in the correct version, okay? So just to read a little bit of the back, this is a DVD copy. Grave robbing, torture, possessed nuns, and a satanic Sabbath, this legendary film uses a series of dramatic vignettes to explore the scientific hypothesis that witches of the Middle Ages suffered the same hysteria as turn-of-the-century psychiatric patients. And it has all these bizarre images of witches and devils and so forth. And it kind of comes off as a mix of practical effects and something beyond what your mind can comprehend and feels supernatural through the use of its visual effects. And it is more naturalistic and creepier than a lot of CGI. And I think if you're looking for a film that scratches that practical effects itch, that is visually unique, you're really going to like this one, even if you only watch a few scenes of it. A lot of the scenes are available on YouTube, but I love this movie. I think this is just something that everyone who's interested in this subject matter should see, regardless of whether, they're a big fan of the collection or not. But one I wanted to mention, okay? The next one is a movie that I didn't know exactly how to explain why I put it on this list, other than to say that the visual style felt just a little bit off from reality. It felt as if someone's memories were being conveyed through a visual distortion, through a corrupted vision, a vision that was full of longing and remorse. And it comes across in one of Chantal Akerman's films, News from Home. So if you don't have this red box, I talk about it quite a bit. News from Home. And when you open up the box, there's a little booklet that goes through the different films. So this is from the red box of her films. I think this is one of the best box sets I own. I constantly revisit it. Okay. I bookmarked it here. There we go. Remaining, this is just from this essay. Remaining in the position of an alien observer staring at storefronts from across the pavement, Ackerman's camera eventually heads underground, where it stares at lonely subway platforms and the opening and closing of train car doors. And it's in this part of the film that the use of light and the way it's played around with by the director, I feel like becomes something all of its own. It's its own visual effect. It's its own style, because in the film, this woman is writing to her mother these letters that become increasingly sparse over the years. And the entire visual effect of the film is meant to make you feel like you're experiencing somewhere in the middle of receiving or giving these letters. And it results in this melancholy that you might feel if you've ever been separated from a loved one by distance. And that's the best way I know to describe its visual effect, but you'll know it if you've ever experienced it. You'll know it when you see it. And I did think it was worth putting on this list because it's a beautiful film in its own right. It is a film that, was on the Sight and Sound poll in 2022 as one of the best movies. And I like it as much as any of hers. There are 3 or 4 of hers that I think are just phenomenal. But I wanted to put on the list. Now, the last 2 are the ones that really, for me, take the concept and really make it come alive. What can film do with practical visual effects when it comes to things that are fantastical? And I don't actually own a copy of this because I think you can, I've got my website up here. I think you can only get this on DVD, and someone tell me if I'm wrong, but I have seen The Thief of Bagdad, which does have a terrific DVD cover. And one of the sentences that I'm reading from the website here, Criterion's website, says, with its luscious technicolor, vivid sets, and unprecedented visual wonders, The Thief of Bagdad has charmed viewers of all decades for ages. Of course, this is the Arabian Nights. Of course, it's based on the Arabian Nights. I'm really not generally a huge fan of the Barnes & Noble hardback covers, but I think this one's just gorgeous. And I got it on their sale recently. They had been having a sale there at Barnes & Noble. But it has all these different stories from the Arabian Nights. And, as a kid, a lot of us maybe were, big fans of Aladdin. I think I had Aladdin Disney posters all over my room. I remember maybe they were like the puzzle ones you put together. And I know that at one point we collected these magic cards. This is from Arabian Nights. Probably, that might be worth $4 or something now. I don't know. But it was such an influential mythology. And watching the film a year or 2 back, and the way that, the camera makes the genie look larger, or a set design is much more realistic in terms of how it uses miniatures, the flying carpet, like that film is so full of neat practical effects. If you can ignore the acting, this is kind of the only problem with Thief of Baghdad for being, such a great film, a Michael Powell film. The acting is not, the acting really turned me off, but the visual effects of that film are so insanely cool to look at. And they're a little campy at times, and it's such a wholesome film that I thought I had to discuss it a little bit, particularly since, if you're like me, the Arabian Nights has had some influence on your greater life, whether that be fiction that you read or film that you watch. I mean, Pasolini, that I'm looking at on the shelf up there, has an Arabian Nights version, so worth checking out The Thief of Baghdad if you're into those kinds of movies. And finally, the prototype. The film that, I'm about to watch The Substance, and I'm wondering how it will stack up compared to this one, this movie, Videodrome, one of my favorites, one of my favorite covers. I mean, it's when you look at it, it looks kind of like you'd rent it from an old video store, like the Ringu. I have an aerial copy of Ringu, and you take it out here, long live the new flesh, and it kind of even looks a little bit like a VHS. It comes with a great booklet, which I haven't looked at this booklet in years, but I wanted to say this thing got a 4K as well. Videodrome is one of those movies that, as long as you're okay with a lot of ambiguity in your storyline, you're really going to like, because a sleazy television executive person gets hold of a videotape he really shouldn't. And it's Ring-like in that things start happening. There is a really good practical effect of like the TV and something coming either in and out of the TV without spoiling it for you. But this film, man, practical effects all over the place. is like, of all the things I've ever seen in the Criterion Collection, when I think practical visual effects done well, I think of Videodrome. And what a trip. Like, there's nothing like it. You know, in the whole collection, there's just nothing quite like Videodrome. And, you know, James Woods, probably perfect for this role. Because he's an obnoxious, like, actor. Just so annoying. Like, he's perfectly cast there, you know, for the film. So definitely watch Videodrome if you haven't. You know, even if you're someone who tends to be a little bit more on the artistic side, I'm telling you, this thing, you're going to love it. And if nothing else, it does have some of the coolest packaging in the whole collection. So those are some recommendations that I thought you might enjoy. That was, you know, 5 I think I picked out there. What are some that you like that have interesting visual effects? If you could share a comment there, that'd be great. As always, if you did enjoy the content, please do me a favor and click that like button. Like buttons grow YouTube channels. Just grow them right up, you know? And consider, if you have not subscribed, consider subscribing. I do lots of videos about Criterion content, different films. There's probably something you'll enjoy in there if you're a film lover as I am. And we will see you next time on Cody in the Cinema.